There's nothing better than talking Italian football with two die-hard Italian football enthusiasts, because now the numbers and the stats will show, and everything, all the change, they have to say something negative. He hates it. He definitely hates it. I get to enjoy. Start talking to JD about Arsenal. It's fun.
The first one is a manager whose press conference I had to listen to. Matteo?
Okay, so at the end of the season, Antonio Conte, the Napoli boss, who's leaving, is sat next to the owner, Aurelio De Laurentiis. De Laurentiis is talking about God knows what, and Conte is rolling his eyes. And then they get into it a little bit, and they have a back and forth. And I don't remember having ever seen a situation like this, Marco, where you have the owner and the manager together, right by each other, on the mic, having a discussion back and forth. Marco, break it down. What did you find awkward about that?
It was one of the best press conferences I've ever watched. And Claudia and Troy and anyone at home, if you don't speak Italian, you could understand every word.
Yes.
Conte's facial reaction. At one point, Conte interrupted De Laurentiis. He goes, I just want the record to show I don't agree with anything he just said. Because he goes, without injuries, Inter wouldn't win the league.
Yeah.
We need to show respect. It is box office. They're two huge personalities, and they are going to speak their mind, whether they offend anyone or not.
I love that.
So Conte won a Scudetto with Inter. He's hearing the president next to him say, we would have won. He's like, no, hold on. It wasn't just the injuries. Because Conte is always super demanding. He wants more players. And he hasn't been very happy with any of the transfer windows. So he wanted to set the record straight. It was awkward, but it was box office, typical Serie A. Crazy stuff between the ownership and the coach. So I loved every minute of it.
I love that. Marco, what was the press conference that you always had to listen to?
As Troy said, there's a lot of material. I went with Maurizio Sarri because he had so many I take notes after every Serie A weekend. So I went back just to look. My list, it's the longest notes that I have from here because the amount of quotes from, they asked him to describe his season. He goes, we were traveling through the desert with no water. That's how he described it. When they made a January signing, Matteo's favorite quote on Rakov, he goes, I don't even know who this player is. That's how a coach welcomed his new signing. And then maybe the best of all is him and Lotito, the owner of Lazio, going back and forth, where Lotito gets a prank call. This happens all the time. Very Serie A related, right? He gets a call from a fan, and they go, why don't you give Sarri any players? What's wrong with you? Then Lotito goes back. No player wants to play for Sarri. That's the problem. I will buy them. Now, Sarri has to respond in the press conference, and he goes, that's all a lie. None of that is true. The players are mad at Lotito. So it's just, there's so much drama. The back and forth in Italy is incredible, and I suggest you go back and listen to them.
All right, guys, the next superlative, a player that you love to hate.
I love that we included this. You want me to go?
Yeah, are you the one that came up with this?
So mean.
Rafael Leão. I am so glad he's finally leaving Milan. I have had it with this guy. And he has the nerve to say, I gave it my all. I watched every minute of Rafael Leão. Let me show you Rafael Leão when things weren't going his way. He moves like this. He's looking down. He doesn't track back. He's hunched. He's looking down. The second that he misses a touch, that he misses a cross, that he misses a shot, he gets in his head. The fans start booing him because they can see this guy is not trying. He's not tracking back. He completely goes out of the game mentally.
Disengaged,
he can't deal with adversity, right? He has no personality. When things aren't going his way, you can tell that he goes within himself. He is too inconsistent. Whoever buys him, 35 million, 40 million, I think in the Premier League it's going to be the same story. The second things don't go his way, the second that he doesn't get a foul, the second that he misses a cross or a shot, which is often, by the way, he's going to start sulking and looking down. And this is sadly the story of Leão. We've seen it all too often.
I had some Chelsea friends phone me about him. Oh, what do you think? What do you think? I said, he's the worst superstar I've ever seen. He's got all the ability, the height, the pace, the power, never delivers. He's 26 years old. Yeah. He should be at the peak of his powers. And we keep talking about, what he did 3 years ago. Absolutely with you. Absolutely.
Marco, player you love to hate? Unfortunately, we are doing this category.
No, I feel bad because players don't often. It's not their fault if they're bought for a lot of money. But one meme on our Serie A show has been Teun Koopmeiners. Yeah. He was bought for 60 million. Juventus's midfield got worse ever since Koopmeiners has joined. There was actually a side-by-side of when Juventus added Douglas Luiz, Koopmeiners, and Locatelli. They spend more on those three players than PSG did for their midfield, for Vitinha, João Neves, just to show you how bad it's been. Koopmeiners, one of the craziest, I felt bad for him because it felt like he went from this incredible player at Atalanta, winning the Europa League, scoring so many goals, had double-digit goals, and then he gets Luciano Spalletti, and after doing terrible, comes out and says, oh, I've been playing in the wrong position. I'm actually a left center back.
He was playing as an attacking midfielder at Atalanta, scoring 15 goals a season. Ends up at center back. That's how bad they were trying to salvage this guy. Useless at center back, useless at attacking midfielder, nothing, no pace. The passing was off, couldn't score. So it's like, what do you do? The answer is absolutely nothing.
And the worst part about that is he didn't like move country. You know, like sometimes I know you've been in Italy, then you go to Germany, and it's like, oh, it doesn't work, it doesn't suit. He just moved team in the same country, and the player is completely different.
That's a personality, isn't it, Troy?
Yeah.
You can't wear the weight of the Juve kit.
100%.
You can't live up to the price tag. That's
and you do know they're going to win the league next year as well. So
absolutely.
Most Rewinds award, a player that you loved watching on replay. Matteo?
I'm going to go with this little Spaniard, Jesús Rodriguez, that Como signed from Real Betis. He's only 19, 20, but when he gets the ball, I think he had 9 assists on the season. This is the kind of player that I like. You know that there's this whole meme now saying this is what modern wingers look like, that they feign like they're going to take on the defender and then they pass it back. Every time Jesús gets the ball, this is a fullback's worst nightmare. He's always trying to take you on. He's quick, he's shifty, he's technical, he plays in a wonderful cross. This is the kind of player that reminds me why I fell in love with the game. There's so many robotic players now, right? National teams all play the same. These are the kinds of guys that every time they get on the ball, I perk up a bit. I'm like, okay, something interesting is going to happen. I'm going to see the fullback get embarrassed. This is all I want to see from wingers. Take him on. Take chances, and Jesús does that every time he gets on the ball. So he's the player that I enjoy watching.
Yeah,
love that.
I love him too. I went with Zieliński of Inter because Inter play 3 midfielders, but they're kind of like 10s. Like they're so technical on the ball, and he said himself that he was 3rd choice under Inzaghi. Ever since Kivo came in, he made him, for me, one of the best midfielders in Serie A. Like a new signing, and just so good. Defensively, he doesn't want to run. He doesn't want to make a lot of tackles, but he is one of the best and most aesthetically pleasing players on the ball.
Troy, I don't know if you can tell, but after Juve missed out on top 4, Troy's just texting someone down there.
no, I'm just checking.
He started smoking Marlboro Reds. I don't know if you can tell. He's sweating.
Yeah.
No.
Listen to his voice. Like Marlboro's going downhill.
I was texting. I was actually checking up on it. Because I was going to say, the person I enjoy watching the most is Marlon, but I don't want to say that when someone's come in January. That's what I was good. That's
Why not?
Because I feel like he should be over the course of the whole body of work in the season. So that's what I was doing, just checking.
Sorry,
my
you're not in
dates were
trouble,
right.
man.
The most Serie A storyline. And this is probably a long list here that you guys had to choose from. Matteo, what are you going with here?
So one of the reasons why we love Serie A is because some teams always fall apart, right? We love the chaos. We love the disorganization. AC Milan's collapse. They had a double-digit lead over 5th place only a month and a half before the season ended. We were talking about them winning the Scudetto. We were in the Derby della Madonnina. We were all happy. Look at the chances.
And like,
they were nearly at
fair
100%.
enough.
Nearly at 100%. SofaScore put this data out for us. Nearly at 100%.
Wow.
And then it went to 0 because they missed out on Champions League. And the ramifications of that, Claudia, were atrocious. The owner, Cardinale, said, I am getting rid of everyone. You have to spend over 20 million to get rid of everyone. Allegri, out the door. Furlani, out the door, thank goodness. The sporting director, Iglitare, out you go. The scouting guy, I forgot his Moncada. No idea what he did other than waste money. You're out the door as well. They have no idea now who's leading the team. They have no manager. They have no sporting director. The guy that they want is currently going to the U.S. or the Austria, so he won't be available till mid-July, Ralf Rangnick. So it is a disaster, an absolute disaster. However, I want to say, not finishing top 4 for me as a fan, blessing in disguise, because I can actually watch Milan again.
Why?
They were atrocious to watch last season. That was not football. If you want just results, go to the stock market. I want to be entertained. You're never going to get entertained with Allegri as the manager of Milan.
All right. What was the most entertaining storyline for you, Marco?
Thanks, man.
I went with a lighthearted one instead of that. Even though Matteo's right, I went with Serie A president coming out. They had a scheduling problem where they couldn't put the Derby della Capitale on a certain day, and they asked for the Serie A president's reasoning behind it, and he said nobody expected Lazio to be in the Coppa Italia final. And then Sarri came out and he was saying to him, I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to play at 12 o'clock. It's too hot. There was the tennis, the Open final. So that just caused chaos. But I thought it was hilarious how he just threw it out there. Just like all of us, nobody thought Lazio was going to be in the Coppa Italia final. And then they lost. So.
Yeah.
Negative enough for you? You like it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that it's negative. It's the fact that you're able to say negative and then give us reasons as to why.
Yeah.
It's easy just to be negative. You just go on YouTube and see that. But
This was realistic.
I like it. I like it. But I would have put Juve in there as well, personally. But
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount Plus.